with me today is a special guest. This is Sherri Snelling, and I'm going to actually read her bio so I don't miss anything. She is a gerontologist and an authorpreneur and the founder and CEO of Caregiving Club. And she works with caregiver wellness, well home design, and brain health and Alzheimer's, and has her own podcast. So she actually is local, so that was very fortunate that we could have her. But she recently has come back from a conference where they had more age tech. And remember, on my previous episodes, we've been talking about that. So thank you, Sherri, for coming today. It's so nice to have you.
Well, Debbie, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, you've told me all kinds of fun things about some products and some things that are on the market, and all of them sounded great. So we're going to talk about as many as we can today. But I was really fascinating about Brain HQ and about exercising our brain.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when we think about brain health, a lot of people think, okay, crossword puzzles, is that going to help me? And actually, what we want to do is think about brain exercises. We want to think about exercising as much from the neck up as we do from the neck down.
Okay.
And what that really means is working out different regions of the brain. And so, for instance, if you play a musical instrument or if you sing along with songs, you're actually firing neurons in different parts of your brain. Mm-hmm. So what Brain HQ does, it's online software exercises.
Okay.
It's backed by over 250 peer-reviewed, evidence-based studies.
Okay.
So there's a lot of science here. And so what you do is you take these 7-minute exercises that you can do in the comfort of your home, but it teaches you how to work out different parts of your brain. And then you can step it up. So in the same way that you would go work out and maybe start working out with weights, and you do the 1-pound weights, and then you maybe go to the 2 or 3-pound weights.
So you up your brain.
Right, or you go further in your walks,
Okay.
or you go faster. This is what it helps to do.
Okay.
And so when we feel like maybe cognitively, things aren't firing right, it's really great to go through these types of exercises and really understand that neuroplasticity is something that we all have, and we can rebuild those neural scaffolding and connections that help our brain health and help us stay cognitively,
active. Doing and being able to think, because it's true. If it's a muscle, it's like you're exercising your muscle. I actually, as you were speaking, I remembered that I had seen this online, and I tried a few of the things, and it does get progressively more challenging, but that's important because if you keep doing the low-level thing, it doesn't grow.
Right.
Your brain's not getting exercise if you keep doing the same one over and over.
Well, one of the things I also loved, and I've known this company for a long time, they've been around for a while, but you mentioned I just recently wrote a book about, caregiver wellness and wellness for everybody and brain health for certainly. There's a great story about Tom Brady.
Okay.
And so obviously the quarterback, the GOAT, he used these exercises to maintain his expertise and get those Super Bowl rings way into his 40s or early 40s.
Right.
So it's something that anybody can use to kind of continue to work out that brain.
So earlier in the show, one of the questions for our question of the month was regarding AI. And I'm big on AI, but I also know there's good and bad. And you mentioned at the conference that there was a talk about that. So the good things and the bad things, let's break them down a little bit.
Yeah, so this conference was the What's Next Longevity Innovation Summit.
Okay.
All things age tech, and AI was the big topic of the day. And as you said, there certainly are some pros because we can now personalize our care plans. We can really get more close to what we call personalized medicine in healthcare by using AI and having that AI really understand our patterns, our behaviors, and do all that machine learning that helps with that. The downside is that unfortunately, it's the Wild West. It's brand new technology that we don't necessarily have a harness on. And so now we have things like voice cloning. And there was a video that was shown at the conference. It was a little startling for those of you who know who Ryan Gosling, the actor, is from The Notebook and Barbie and other things. And I personally love him. But what they showed is a video of Ryan Gosling talking about something that we know he probably would not be talking about. It was very scientific, and it looked exactly like him. And so the downsides of, we think about grandparent scams, right, where your grandchild could be now on a video with their own voice asking for help or for money.
And it's not them, it's all AI generated.
Or I think about, the upcoming presidential election and political ads. I mean, how will we know what's real?
Right.
So that was the conversation.
And that's part of my, what I've been trying to do is explain what AI is so that people don't fear it, but also understand that there is an element. Everything that's out there, there's always this low-level bad actor element, and AI is no different. And that's the downside, because before, they used to call and they say, oh, your grandchild's in jail, blah, blah, blah. And but now it could possibly sound like a grandchild. So, I think, for an educational piece, for that is more about, making sure that you have a safe word.
Right, exactly.
A safe word or something that the AI couldn't clone and talk about. But the thing is that there's always going to be that element, and as long as we're aware of it, we can potentially stop that from happening, or at least, if it does happen, we question it.
Right.
I think that's the whole thing with scams, questioning.
Right.
You always have to question. I saw the lady that she gave the scammers their own medicine, and she started crying and, saying, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen. And, finally the scammers hung up. So that was a good thing.
Right.
So you mentioned a few other things that you saw there that were of interest. And I was telling you a story earlier about the bed, that menopause bed that tells you when you're going to have a hot flash, but the bed does what?
So this is really interesting. And they actually weren't at this conference, but I have interviewed them and seen them before. And the company is called DreamPad, and it's DreamPad pillows. And so there's something with, again, this is going back to our brain science and neuroscience. We know that there are sonic cues. So there are different colors along the hearing sound spectrum.
Yes, I heard
now,
that.
Many of us know about white noise. We know, the whirring of a fan or whatever sometimes helps people sleep. But there are different colors of noise, and there's a lot of commercials out there right now with green noise, which is supposed to simulate nature, and it does, but it's still got some deep tones. The optimal noise that we want for good sleep, it'll get us to sleep faster and keep us asleep longer, is pink noise.
Okay.
And also for anyone who may have tinnitus, pink noise is something that a lot of doctors and neurosurgeons or neurologists are prescribing. But what this pillow does is it uses bone conduction and vibrational technology so that there is an app, and it delivers sounds into the pillow that then go into the ear, and this will help you sleep. Now, you can also use music.
I love this.
Because there was a great study that was done among 100,000 women between the ages of 55 and 72.
Okay.
And they listened to classical music every night for 10 days. And for the next 30 days, they slept really, really well.
Wow.
So you can also do music.
I have a friend that might need that, because we were just talking about her sleep, because that's one thing as we age, sleep becomes a big issue. So these pillows and even some of the beds I had mentioned in my CES episodes, where the beds actually can monitor different things. I think most of us will do whatever it takes to get a good night's sleep. So.
Well, and again, it does go back to brain health too. We know that you've got to get that restive sleep. You've got to, wash all those toxins and debris out of the brain during the night, and do that cellular repair, particularly in your brain, in order to function properly the next day.
Oh, I love that. And so I just, one of the things when we spoke on the phone or emails, we were talking about, aging at home, and people want to age in place, and sometimes that requires a caregiver, and you're very focused on caregivers, but also about the whole thing. So is there anything from a technology perspective that you've seen, that you think is something that's really valuable to both having that, being able to age at home in place, or maybe can support the caregiver in providing better quality of care?
Yeah, we know that falls in the home are something that are very serious, and it's something we want to try to prevent. And there's a lot of pushback over having like remote monitoring and, any kind of video that's watching you during the day is a
Right.
little creepy. But smartwatches, obviously, a lot of people have embraced, right?
And I've talked about that a lot.
And so, but what I would caution is, whether it's an Apple Watch or something else, there are apps out there now that say fall detection, and they're not quite as good. So there's a company I really like. It's called Care. They have a smartwatch called Theora Connect.
Okay.
Now, they use AI technology
Okay.
and something called neural networks technology, which is kind of the next generation, if you will. And so their falls detection app actually really knows, like, for instance, am I just sitting on the ground? Am I kind of doing breathing exercises, or have I really fallen over?
Right.
But again, it's using AI to know what your patterns are and to be able to distinguish that. And then
That's really
if you
good.
don't respond, then it will send a notification, if you don't respond in the next minute, we're going to connect with emergency personnel or with your family caregiver or whomever. So again, it gives you that agency and independence back, so you can say, no, I'm fine.
No, I'm fine. Because I have had like I hit my iWatch against as I was going through a doorway, and now all of a sudden it's buzzing and telling me, oh, it's calling 911. No, stop. I don't want it to do that. So, but you're right, it's the independence thing, and a lot of times people don't want to wear, a watch is always a good thing because of the pendant. For whatever reason, the pendant type of life alert, people that bothers them to wear it. It's kind of like that, oh, now I have to wear a life alert.
I know. And they're doing things better, like now they're in necklaces, so they look better.
I did talk about that.
The tough thing is that if you have fallen, and maybe if you are unconscious, pushing a button is not going to be something you can do.
Right.
What I love about this watch is that it will say, are you okay, or do you need help? And you can use your voice, and then it will go from there. So I love that it gives you back that agency.
That's really good. Well, I wish we had more time, because this has been such an incredibly good conversation, and we've talked about a couple other travel things, so maybe you'll see Sherri on the travel show, and we'll talk about some travel things. But thank you so much for coming, and we'll put the information about your book up on at the end. And just in a nutshell, what's the book? What's the main crux of it?
Yeah, the main crux is really how to find balance and joy when you have a busy life. And it's written for family caregivers, but actually anybody of any age.
Okay.
And it's all based on brain health science, and how our brains work, and then how we look at 7 different elements of our life, whether it's physical, spiritual, environmental, intellectual, emotional, social. And we talk about, okay, what do we need to do to use that brain health and brain science? And really, it's the 5 senses.
Okay.
How do we really tap into the 5 senses of our brain that bring joy?
Right.
And so that's really what the book's all about.
Well, it's very important right now. Everybody is about, we're always looking for ways to bring joy to our life. So thank you again for coming, and I so appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's
You're
been
very
great.
welcome. And we'll be right back. Here is the information on Brain HQ, where you can sign up and subscribe, the Dream Pad pillow that we discussed, and the Care, the smartwatch you'll want to wear, that was also discussed during the show.